Good morning, Woodland. Welcome back to our series on how to listen, obey the call of God. As we begin this morning, I'd like to share with you a prayer by Lutheran minister and theologian Ted Loder. Won't you pray with me? O Eternal One, it would be easier for me to pray if I were clear and of a single mind and a pure heart. If I could be done from hiding myself and from you, even in my prayers. But I am who I am. Mixture of motives and excuses, blur of memories, quiver of hopes, knot of fear, tangled of confusion, and restless with love for love. I wander somewhere between gratitude and grievance, wonder and routine, high resolve and undone dreams, generous impulses and unpaid bills. So come find me, Lord. Be with me exactly as I am. Help me find me, Lord. Help me accept what I am so that I can begin to be yours. Make of me something small enough to snuggle, young enough to question, simple enough to giggle, old enough to forget, foolish enough to act for peace, skeptical enough to doubt the sufficiency of anything but you, and attentive enough to listen to you as you call me out of the tomb of my timidity into the chancy glory of my possibilities and the power of your presence. Amen. A couple of weeks ago, our scripture of calling told the story of God speaking to little Samuel in the house of worship. This morning, we have two that are going to join us who have been houses of worship for a long, long time. Delightful people that you may know a little bit, but I hope you get to know even more through this interview. I want you to help me welcome Jana Atkinson and Dave Morgan. Thank you guys for agreeing to do this. This is going to be fun, I hope. Jana, some of us are acquainted with your story, but others not so much. Tell us a little bit about your growing up years. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Okay, so I am from Hondo, a small town, and I have five sisters, so it was a very busy childhood. I grew up in the Baptist church, and I grew up in a very Southern Baptist church, so my calling took a long time to figure out.
Where were you in the family? How many brothers and sisters did you have, and how did that all work?
I have five sisters. I am exactly in the middle. I'm the fourth. My oldest sister is 13 years older, and my youngest is 13 years younger. And three of my sisters are adopted.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
bless the father's heart in a whole household of women. Well, Dave, I think I can say for many of us that we already enjoy you a whole lot, but we just want more because we think you're a delight. So tell me about your growing up years, your family, your church experience.
All right, no problem. Um, I grew up, of course, in Mexico City. Before that, my mom used to go on mission trips while she was pregnant with me. So I've been pretty much involved in ministry since being born and before that. Um, I am a pastor's kid, you know, went to church all my life, and I've been part of all kinds of churches. My home church in Mexico is, I guess, the closest thing here would be the Bible churches, right? So that's what I grew up in, and then over here I've been to all things from Baptist to Pentecostal, non-denominational, and everything in between, which has been very interesting and very eye-opening. Um, but yeah, so ever since I was a small kid, I was already serving at church up until today.
What was it like growing up as a pastor's kid?
Oh man, so I knew that this was gonna come up. Just a lot of pressure. You always have a spotlight on you just for being the pastor's kid, and you know that can be a good thing, that can be a bad thing. It depends on the person, right? But just having that spotlight really makes you ask some questions about, like, am I in this position? Like, why am I even a believer? Is it because I must, or is it because I really want to? So it wasn't until a later age. I had already accepted Christ when I was very young. So at a later age, I started asking these questions, and I realized that I had to do it for myself. So I renewed my vows and just like started from scratch at the age of 17. After 17 years of being in church already. Mm-hmm.
I wish my kids could have heard your testimony.
Mm-hmm.
They've always seen the good side and the bad side of Bika Pika.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spotlight thing really does, especially my boys. But it also teaches you to ask questions and have adult conversations a
Mm-hmm.
lot sooner than you normally would have.
Yes.
Well, I have to ask you guys, how did you meet?
I'll let you have this.
We actually met in Dr. Nora Lozano's class. We had
In college?
at Baptist University of the Americas. We met there, and I had a big crush on him. And so we became friends, and then 10 months later, I convinced him to date me.
So Nora's a matchmaker of sorts?
Yes.
We could say that, yeah.
Dave, what was your reaction? This beautiful
Well,
next to you.
at first we became really good friends. We used to do all kinds of things together, and with our own respective friends as well. So, we became really close. I thought she was really cool. It wasn't until later, after a mission trip that we went together on, that, like those little sparks started going off. So, it was a blessed time. And then we determined that it would be best to wait until we were off the mission trip and just like sit down and talk about it. But yeah, it's been fun.
How long have you been married?
It'll be 4 years in August.
4 years and never had a fight that Dave won. Yeah. What do you guys like doing together?
We like to watch TV together, all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Movies. Going to the movies actually is one of our favorite hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
Cook together, listen to music together. We like that a lot.
How has all this evolved into a calling? And Jana, talk a little bit about your calling, and Dave, talk about your calling in response to her calling.
My calling, I think it's an ever evolving thing. Right now, I see my calling as, pouring into younger people and letting them know that they aren't just the future of the church. They are the church now, and they are vital to the world that they're in, and they deserve to take up space. And I don't know where I'll be in the next few years, but that's where I am right now.
Well, I can tell you, I think that's a good thing, by the way, because I think God's call is always evolving. I mean, I don't think that when you're 7 or 8 years old that you've got it all together. And I remember someone asked me, how do you describe baptism to somebody young? I just say it's just a wonderful, evolving thing. I mean, who of us knows what being baptized means when we're young? Who of us knows what being baptized means now? I'm rambling. Dave, talk to me about your calling and how that responds.
Of course. I guess my calling complements Jana's in a very interesting way, just because mine, I believe, is not just music, but also servant leadership. Seeing the life of my dad and how he always, before preaching, he would make sure that we were all okay with each other, as in the core family, right? So there was a couple of times when things were not right, and he was like, "Well, I can't preach if we're not, completely right." And he always made a point on us being his first ministry and reflecting that to the church as well. So I guess I take after him the fact of being a servant leader, God is important, but He also wants us to love our neighbors, to love our own family. So He always made a point to do that. I feel like that is a legacy that He has given me, and I can put it towards music. Same thing with music. We grew up learning that our hearts needed to be in the right place before we took stage and sung a song or um, just performed something. Um, our hearts needed to be in the right place in worship to God. So, yeah, that's a little bit of my.
Oh, I think that's a great piece of wisdom. Have there been any moments that you've had that you think I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Has there been someone or some event that has confirmed your calling for you?
Um, yes, it's just okay. So this is where the part of being an immigrant comes into play. Part of it was like as a requirement from school, it was like you have to go to a church, and the school being a Baptist school, you had to go to a Baptist church. Um, so it was kind of like forced a little bit to fall into this or to have this checklist of requirements that you need to have. Um, but I was able to find a very loving church in the guys from Grace Tabernacle, and as soon as I started serving with them, I was like, I'm in the right place. And it's the same way that I feel right now joining Woodland is okay, right now it's time for me to take a step back and meditate in the Lord, something that I haven't had a chance to do in a long time. And I feel like as part of my calling, this is what I'm supposed to do right now. So yeah, it's been seasons constantly one after the other of feeling that over again, like I'm in the right I'm in the right place. This is where I'm supposed to be, you know.
That's wonderful. Jana, or have there been any watermark spots for you that have helped you kind of say, hey, I am on the right track?
Yeah, there's definitely been a few. Um, right before I went to Woodland, I started seminary, and I chose to go to Logsdon Seminary because after my interview, Wally Goodman stopped me and said, Jana, I want you to know we believe in you. And that's when I said, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And then I found Woodland, and right off the bat, everyone has just been, more supportive of me being a minister and being called by God than all the churches combined I went to before. So, yeah.
What gifts you guys are to Woodland, but more importantly to the greater kingdom. How do you talk about calling to young people? How do you give them a holy nudge just to begin to ask their questions?
Okay. I like to tell, especially, the students I work with, that God has created them to be themselves. And whatever they feel, up that pull towards, to go after it and to find the things they love. And that calling is, just serving any person in any way. It doesn't have to be pastoral or missionary work. It's how they choose to live their lives.
One of the things that I'd love to ask you guys, because you both have different perspectives, what is Woodland's calling, do you think?
I guess I need to spend a little bit more time with the church to
Sure.
be able to answer this for sure.
Well, that was a loaded question in some ways.
Yeah.
When I think of Woodland and Woodland's calling, I see Woodland as a safe space for all kinds of people to come and just worship how they feel called to worship, because we are very, inviting for people, all kinds of people, and encourage them to worship as they need.
Well, thank you both. You have uncommon wisdom for people of your age, and what the gifts you are to us at Woodland is, I just can't express enough thanks for, because I'm looking forward to serving with both of you for a long time and learning much from you. Thanks for being part of this, and We'll make the segue now into talking about another calling, and that is the calling of Jeremiah. You and your classes will begin to deal with this, and I hope you have a wonderful morning. Thanks for joining us.